Hello, so thanks for watching. I just thought I'd do a video on the latest Gunpla Diorama that I've just finished, see what you think of it. So here it is. This is, I don't know, I kind of decided that I was going to go with a sort of a World War II vibe, but I don't know if I quite pulled it off in the end, but that was the inspiration for it. Started off with a master grade Gouf Custom. Used various Vallejo paints. I'll list them all down in the description. Used various Vallejo paints to with an airbrush to paint the mobile suit. So down here for the base, I didn't actually need to cut a piece of wood or anything. I just had some old shelves from a CD display case that had nice neat little square shelves made out of chipboard, so I nicked one of those and used that for the base of the actual diorama. The rest of the diorama is made up of scatter terrain kind of stuff, like little sand particles that I've got off of eBay, grass, fake grass. The trees, the smaller trees with the leaves, they're actually moss with some grass, fake grass sort of stuck on the tips. And at the back of the ground there on the diorama, you can actually see like a little bit of white poking through. That's actually little bits of the plaster that I made this hill out of, sort of poking through the sand that I laid down on top of it. And it looks bad on the camera, but actually in person it looks like it gives the ground sort of like a chalky sort of appearance, as though it's a chalk sort of subsurface to that mound. So I actually quite like it, so I left that in. The tank there in the foreground, that's actually a 1/100 scale model Panzer tank by a company called Zvezda. Very cheap little models, only take a couple of minutes to put together. There's probably only about 5 or 6 pieces in total. What attracted me to them was that they were 1/100 scale, so that's the same as master grade mobile suit or Gunpla. So I thought that had been the same scale, so I bought that thinking I'd chuck it in a diorama somewhere, and that's what I used it for. So so with the tank, I painted it sort of greens and greys and tried to do a camo sort of effect, but because it was so small and I'm not very practiced with the airbrush yet, it was quite difficult to get an actual defined pattern. So if you look really closely, you can't see it on camera, but if you look closely, there are sort of variations in the colours that kind of resemble camo, but that model is quite small to airbrush camo freehand on. Yeah, other bits and pieces on the terrain were just fake sort of leaf bits, some little rocks, which are basically were just little slate chips that you put on your garden, and I just smashed them up into smaller chips and sort of scattered them around and made them look like it was rocky terrain, or boulders lying around and stuff. The conifer trees, or the pine trees in the background, they were actually Woodland Scenics, I think, or a similar brand, a railway manufacturer, but I just gave them a little bit of a yellow highlight just to make them look a bit less fake. So yeah, onto the mobile suit. As I said, I used a master grade Gouf Custom. Now the paint scheme isn't quite how I wanted it to be. It didn't quite turn out how I was imagining it. As I said earlier, I wanted to do sort of a World War II vibe. I don't know if I quite pulled that off, because I was going to go with obviously a German looking soldier colour scheme, but with the green and stuff, it kind of looked a bit of a mixed match between that and the Allies. So it is what it is. It's its own unique thing. A couple of things that I'm quite happy with are the way the Gatling gun came out. I'm 90% happy with that. I did kind of try to do a bit of a colour blend technique with the airbrush to try and get a variation of colours. Gave it 2 or 3 goes, and that's what I'm most happy with. I think it looks alright. It's not perfect, but it's getting there. Made a little bit of a modification to the barrel, drilled some holes. Actually messed up one of the holes, made it a bit too big, but you can hide that. Other bits and pieces, the decals were quite tricky to get to stick. I'm still struggling after doing a paint job and then getting the decals to stick onto the paint job, but on the whole most of them came up okay. There's just I think the ones on the feet look really good, but you can see the edges of the decal and it doesn't look that great. With the shield and the Gatling gun, I decided sort of less was more, so I just put the Xeon symbol on the shield. I was happy with myself that I managed to get it right over the crease without it looking, you know, too bent or bubbly. And then I decided to sort of call it a day there and just keep it plain and simple. Yeah, the other thing with the colour scheme is where the knee pads are, I went with a green and then brown to kind of mirror the shoes, because I like the shoes. I say shoes, feet. The mobile suits have shoes. Feet, so I like the way the feet came out, so I wanted to mimic that with the kneecap, but I don't know if it came out okay. I should have probably just done that all one solid colour maybe, but that's probably a bit nitpicky. The other thing I'm not entirely happy with is the piping. I wanted to have it as sort of an old-fashioned brass sort of colour, but I couldn't get the colour quite right. It looked a bit too dirty, and then I dry brushed it with a brighter colour and then it brightened it back up, and in the end I thought I'd just leave it. So that's not exactly how I envisage it, but it'll do. Other than that, I did enjoy building this. It was a fun build. Didn't actually plan to just put it on a diorama, but the thought came to me one day, so I thought I'd film it and show everyone who watches this, see if they like it, maybe they get some inspiration. Right, so anyway, hope that you do like this little diorama that I've done. Let me know in the comments if any thoughts or questions you've got. Check the description for links to the paints and things that I used for this, and hopefully I will catch you on another video.